Okay, I think we can start. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for coming to our Power Talk today. Today we are very honored to have Dr. Pui Liew Phing. She is an assistant professor from Faculty of Applied Science at UCSI University. And today she will be delivering a talk about microencapsulation of probiotic and its incorporation in non-dairy beverages. Yeah, so maybe next. Yeah, so the power talk today will be, we will have an hour of power talk, but the speaker will present for 45 minutes and will be followed by 50 minutes of question and answer. And at the end of the presentation, you will be asked to fill in the evaluation form at the end, so you can get a certificate for the participant. And you can also ask question and answer. So okay, next. So before we start, I just want to remind you to that you are prohibited to activate audio during the power talk session, so we do not distract the other participants. And also you are not allowed to use chat feature to ask questions. Yeah, and then the evaluation survey will be distributed to you at the end of the event. So please stay until the end of the talk. Next. Okay, so this is the current research projects that Dr. Pui are doing. So mostly they all are related to the encapsulation of probiotic in food. Yeah. So she encapsulated with different methods. For example, the probiotic is incorporated in carboxymethyl cellulose chitosan edible film for packaging, and then the elucidation of inhibition mechanism and release kinetics of nano-emulsified polygenominoous Hertz essential oil for functional food packaging, and also in beverages, for example, in incorporation of Lactococcus lactis with KRAS mimotop into yogurt drink and fruit juice, and etc. Next. Yeah, these are the publications from Dr. Pui. You can have a look at it if you are interested in this topic later on. Next. Yeah, so you can scan this barcode later on. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Pui. Very glad to have you here today.
Hello.
Yeah, you may share your screen
and
start whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Can you see my slides?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So today we'd like to talk about the microencapsulation of probiotics and its incorporation in non-dairy beverage. Basically, let me introduce to you what is probiotic first. Probiotic is a live microorganism. When they are administered in sufficient amount, it can confer health benefits to the host. With this, probiotic, normally they will need to meet certain requirements, as in they will need to meet a certain minimum amount when it reaches to your GI tract. At the same time, the strain that is used for probiotics should be able to sustain high pH and low pH as well, because it needs to pass through our GI tracts. Now, these probiotics, normally in our daily life, we will encounter all these probiotics, such as in our dairy product, for example, yogurt or yogurt drinks. However, what I want to talk about today is now there are also increased popularity in incorporating probiotics in non-dairy products because of the awareness of lactose intolerance. where this population has been increasing. So we want to meet the needs of the consumption of probiotics for this group of people as well. Okay, so for the probiotics, you need to pass through the GI tract, that is the gastrointestinal tract, where they will go through the gastric juice and bowel salt. And besides that, it will need to go through a certain environment stress, like high temperature when they are being stored, or prolonged shelf life as well. So in order for the probiotics to have better stability, we will introduce microencapsulation. Basically, this is like what you can see from the slides here, where you actually, no matter what type of microencapsulation it is, it works on the same principle, that it incorporate or envelope the active ingredients underneath or with encapsulation matrix. So what we call this as raw material. The microencapsulation technique, it protects functional or active core ingredient by separating it from surrounding destructive environment until it is released when it is desired. So these advantages, it will provide protection, and also at the same time, we will look at control release, meaning to say that it is not released where it is not supposed to. Now this will, this table is about the different advantages of microencapsulation techniques. The common ones this use is, like, for example, spray drying. We know that there's a lot of spray drying where they encapsulate different products such as probiotics. Normally these spray dried probiotics are in the form of powder. We also have extrusion method where the beads are bigger. We also have emulsion method where we will mix with some oil. This one will be smaller particle size. Okay, and also we also have co-extrusion method. Now, the one that I want to introduce here is co-extrusion method, where it's a short continuous process. It is uniform and it will give a small size microencapsulate. In this co-extrusion method, we do not use heat, okay, or we can say that it is mild heat condition because it is exposed to room temperature. Whereas for spray drying, or normally for spray drying, they will need to subject the compound it at like 140, 160, or 180 degrees Celsius for a very short time. Although it's a short time, however, there will be accumulation of deposits on the machine as well. So it will degrade the properties of the microencapsulated probiotics using spray drying method. Now, these are the different raw material used, where you can see that the different research where they use, they incorporate different probiotics such as Lactococcus lactis, rhamnosus, or they call it Lacto-GG, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Plantarum, and Paracasei. All these probiotics has been encapsulated into different beverage before, and normally they are using extrusion method where they encapsulate the probiotics. For example, the first one, they encapsulate the probiotics with alginate and Persian gum, and then they will add prebiotic like fructooligosaccharides and inulin together with probiotics, and then after that they will put it into the orange juice. So they will look at the study like this. Whereas for there is also another method where they use co-extrusion method. They encapsulate using alginate and shellac. Now, in terms of this kind of extrusion and co-extrusion method, normally the raw material are alginate, and then they will add with different materials such as Persian gum, chitosan, and also gelatin, glucomannan, and shellac for its different combo. And the probiotics, encapsulated probiotics, has been incorporated into orange juice, apple juice, peach nectar and milk, oranges and milk, and pomegranate and cranberry juice. Now, this is a co-extrusion method, the one that I use for my study. This is similar to extrusion, is equipped with vibrating technology. However, compared to extrusion, it produces a smaller capsules. How it works is the core and shell material is pumped through two different fluid nozzles. The core extruded fluid stream naturally breaks into droplets, which form the microcapsules. And after that, they will put into a hardening agent where they will solidify. Okay. Let me show you a video about how small these microcapsules are after they are being encapsulated. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, so this video have no sound. I just want to show you like how it looks like. Okay, so from here, you know the red color there. This one is actually they add the colorant inside the material just to show people how it looks like, or else it is transparent in color. So just a short one, we can see that this is how small it is. Okay, so after the droplets are being produced, it's normally dropped under a hardening bath, okay, to actually harden the beads. So you can see that it is very, very tiny with a flow of the size is controlled by the nozzle size, and then the flow as well influence the particles or beads that is being produced. So you can see this looks like a chain. However, this is actually the beads that is being dropped, that is being produced and being dropped onto the hardening agents. Now the red color here is the ones that add colorant just to show you how small it is. Yeah, so let's go back to the slides. Now, the core ingredients that is used to encapsulate the materials, normally they use alginate solution and also with different composition of blend. Okay, and these are the probiotics that is used previously to research previously. There are different types. Now, in certain types of, how to say, in certain research, they also add prebiotics. We know that prebiotics are the compounds that are used to enhance the growth of probiotics. Example of the research here, normally they use inulin. So inulin has been incorporated into Lactobacillus paraceli, Staphylococcus, and Bifidobacteria animalis, and also Adiphyllus. Now, GOS or galacto-oligosaccharide has been used as well. And there are more investigation on the emerging prebiotics that are used as well. Now, probiotic fruit juice, these are the different fruit juices that are available in the market where they incorporate the probiotics in fruit juice. This is to enhance the value of the fruit juice. Where they add probiotics, it will give a, I'll say, a healthier value to the drinks. But sometimes we may wonder, normally the fruit juice, right, is in acidic condition, and we do not know by putting it in a prolonged storage how the probiotics will be able to withstand. And after it is being stored in the store for a long time, and if you as a consumer, you consume it, how will it actually affect, or how will they survive in your GI tract? So that's why this is from our latest paper, some part of it will be published this year. is just being accepted recently. So this is a compilation of the work where they investigate the survivability of the probiotic after they're being stored for a certain time. And then the researchers look at, after they've been stored, then they extract out the probiotics to see whether does it have any effect or not. Okay, so we can see from here, there are different methods. Mostly they are using extrusion and co-extrusion method. Okay, and also there are also electrospray and freeze drying method, emulsification method. Okay. Now, these are the different raw material used, and they have incorporated into different non-dairy beverages. Like for example, the first one, we can see that if you put in autumn berry tea, that is very sour, added with prebiotic through co-extrusion method, when they stored for 4 weeks at different temperature, we can see the free cells means the ones that is without prebiotics. The survivability is 71% compared to encapsulated cell. This is in your gastric juice. However, after they are being subjected to the bowel, there is no more free cell after they go through the bowel because there is no protection. However, when they're encapsulated, the survivability can still retain at 88.7%. Okay, this will slightly decrease in terms when you put at room temperature. However, we can see that there is definitely encapsulating effect, protection effect when they are encapsulated. The second one, we can see that they actually put it into pineapple. Then prebiotic here, they use is Eleutherin americana extract. Now, flaxseed mucilage and this extract is not very commonly used, but they are research looking at different types of prebiotic that can be used to enhance the growth of different probiotics. In this case, when we want to look at the different probiotics, we will need to test them one by one, because let's say inulin may be the common prebiotic. However, the reaction or induction of growth can be different when they are subjected to different probiotics. There are also research without prebiotics that added, like for example, in mandarin juice and cranberry juice, where they are being stored. Now, in the lacto-GG, the extrusion, and then they put into cranberry juice, we can see that in simulated gastric juice, encapsulated cells, we have 105%, and free cells is 0%. In peach juice, in the gastric juice is 92%, free cells is 82%, because this strain is quite stable. Okay, in terms of intestinal juice is 85%, in encapsulated cell, and free cells is 75%. We also look at other components, like for example, in terms of spray drying. They spray dried Lactoplantarum with sodium arginate as a carrier together with orange juice. Okay, and they found that for this encapsulation technique, they are more stable in stimulated intestinal juice compared to gastric juice. Now, I would like to take the rest of the time to share with you. This is one of the project of my students. Also expected to be published end of the year as well. Now, this is microencapsulation of Lactobacillus plantarum 299V incorporated with inulin, that is the probiotic, and its storage stability in roselle juice. Now, roselle juice is a bit acidic, so we want to choose a model that to see how is the effect if we put in an acidic juice. The objective of this work is to look at the effect of calcium chloride and inulin to optimize this concentration. We want to look at their stability in the stimulated gastric and intestinal juice, and also to look at the stability in when they restore it in roselle juice. So this is the method where we optimize, this is the research overview. We want to optimize the concentration of calcium chloride and inulin. First of all, we want to culture the probiotic, and then we do microencapsulation in terms of co-extrusion. Now, firstly, we will fix the percentage of inulin at 3%, and we will look at the different percentage of calcium chloride from 0.5 to 3%. From there, we will choose the best concentration to fix the best calcium chloride concentration. Then we will play around with the inulin percentage to see the microencapsulation efficiency and also the diameter. In this case, we will fix the alginate percentage. And after that, we will subject the bits that is being produced, like the ones that you can see in the video, very small bits. We will subject them to different physical tests in terms of morphology, bit size. We will check them in an optical microscope and a stage micrometer. Then after that, the bits are subjected to functional tests where we will look at the microencapsulation efficiency and also the sequential digestion, 2 hours in simulated gastric juice and 5 hours in simulated intestinal juice. And after that, we prepare the original juice and also to subject them at 4 degrees and also 25 degrees Celsius. We will check weekly for 4 weeks to look at the stability. And the statistical analysis is done using ANOVA and also Tukey's test. Now, from the result here, we can see that table 1 is on the effects of different concentration of calcium chloride on bit size and also microencapsulation efficiency of chitosan coated microencapsulated LP299V. From here, we can notice that the MEE will averagely be about 70 something to 80 something until 92.88%. You can see the excess calcium, not necessary that when we increase the calcium level, it will reach a point where there will be an excess calcium. Now, this excess calcium will cause pre-gelation process. At the same time, it will weaken the surface gel strength and it will cause non-homogeneous structure. From there, because of the structure that is not very round, it will also affect the efficiency in microencapsulation as well. Now, from this table, we will, when we compare the different MEE, 2% calcium chloride is the best. That's where in the next experiment, we will continue on with 2% calcium chloride and then subject it to different percentage of inulin, that is the prebiotic. And we found out that when we increase the concentration of inulin, there will be increase of mass of bits and consequently decrease the number of entrapped. That is because after, when it increases a little bit, then after 4 and 5%, it doesn't really increase the MEE anymore. So with this, we will choose 3% inulin to continue on with a study. Now, this is how the beads looks like under a microscope. And then we compare the average bead size in diameter and MEE with prebiotic and without prebiotics. And we found out there is no significant difference when we compare the diameter. It's about, so with this is actually smaller than expected. And this is because it is different compared to different encapsulation method. The 1400 to 2930, it includes all the encapsulation method, and this size is actually smaller compared to the normal encapsulation method, and also it will influence by the concentration and viscosity of alginate, and also it will be influenced by the size of the and distance of the nozzle as well. So I found out that the decrease of MEE is when we add inulin inside is because there is increase of the mass in the beads, and hence it will decrease a little bit the entrapped cells. However, we still continue on with the one with inulin is because we know that at the end, the percentage of inulin there will help the growth of the probiotics. Now, this table shows about the sequential digestion with and without the inulin. So when we subject the cells, free cells without encapsulation, encapsulated cells, and also encapsulated probiotic together with the prebiotic, this is the results. And the one in 0, 1, and 2 hours in STJ is the acidic environment. So we can see that when we convert into the graph, this is how it looks like. So this is the gastric environment. And we can see that the percentage of survivability is still very high, which means there is protective effect of microencapsulation. And also, after that, there is also a positive effect of inulin, because we may compare the three line, the different color. The one with encapsulated with inulin is yellow color, which will still have the highest survivability of all. When we look at the SIJ, where we subject them into the bowel, after we subject that into SGJ, the concentration of the survivability of the probiotics is still okay, because we can see there is a protective effect of microencapsulation. If you compare to the free cell actually decreased a little bit. The one encapsulated with inulin is in the middle, and the one that's on top is still inulin. Okay, the one with prebiotics. So we can see this shows the positive effect of inulin in enhancement of the growth as well. And we found that after subjecting it into SGJ followed by SIJ, at 7 hours, all the three different categories still maintain the recommended CFU. Okay, this is because the strain is acid and bowel strain tolerant. I will want to look at how will it survive and how will the storage be if we put it in long time in acidic juice. Will it actually affect? So after that, we subject the free cells, the one with probiotic and without the one with prebiotic and without prebiotic, into the roselle juice. And at room temperature, we found that the free cell, it becomes more turbid. It has a pop sound when you open it, and you have the gas where fermentation actually happens. In encapsulated cell without inulin and also with inulin, there is less turbidity and there is no sound or smell when we open the cap. Okay, when we put it at the room, the refrigeration temperature, there is no turbidity in the juice, and there is no sound when we open the cap, and there is no smell detected. This means that 4 degrees Celsius is better in terms of storage. And we want to look at the survivability of free cell encapsulated with and without inulin in roselle juice over 4 weeks of storage. This is the graph that we get. Okay, the red color one is the one at 4 degrees Celsius, and also the blue color one is the one at the room temperature. If you look at them one by one, we can see that the encapsulated with inulin overall is still very stable, followed by the one in encapsulated, and lastly is the free cell. So we can see that at the 3rd week itself, the one with free cell has already reached the average log CFU that is recommended limit. So further than that, it actually decreases the recommended limit that is required for probiotic. However, at the week 4, the one encapsulated without inulin, it reaches that limit, whereas for the one with inulin, it's still high. So means the survivability is still high. So this is the one with 25 degrees Celsius. Now we can see that the viability of encapsulated probiotic, the LP299V, is more than the free cell because of the physical barrier. And when we compare the one with inulin and without inulin that acts as a prebiotic, the addition of inulin was better. And when we compare between the refrigerated temperature with room temperature, the refrigerated temperature is better. Now, in conclusion, in terms of in this study, we have 3 parts. First part is in terms of optimization. Optimization of the formulation, 2% calcium chloride and 3% inulin has the best formulation if you compare according to microencapsulation efficiency with 94%. The base that's produced is small and spherical with an average diameter of 685.33 micrometer. Now, when we subject them to sequential digestion in a GI tract, the viability of encapsulated LP299V with inulin is better compared to the encapsulated LP299V without inulin. And both of them are better from free cells, the one that is without prebiotic, and all is within the recommended limit. When we subject them to storage tests, the survivability of encapsulated 299V with inulin is better compared to the encapsulated one without inulin, and is better compared to the free cell. The one that is subjected to room temperature is performing worse compared to the one in refrigerated temperature. So as a conclusion, the co-extrusion, encapsulation, and addition of inulin improve the viability of LP299V in simulated gastric juice, simulated intestinal juice, and also recell juice by protecting them from damage caused by unfavorable storage temperature and acidic condition. So these are the references. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. A very interesting talk. Yeah, actually, I got lots of questions because coincidentally, I'm also working on encapsulation of probiotic. And in the past, I used to work with double emulsion for encapsulation of microbes, lactic acid bacteria, but for fermentation purposes. And now I'm working with my students as well, trying to encapsulate probiotic to be put in soy sauce. Yeah, okay. Maybe I think some of my students are here. I hope they are asking questions. So yeah, let's open the Q&A session. Anyone wants to ask questions? We still have like 20 minutes. Anyone? Okay, while waiting for the others, maybe if you're too shy, you can write down your question in the chat box. Maybe while waiting for the question, maybe I want to ask question first. So what is the main challenge in incorporating a microcapsule into beverage product in terms of the stability? Because in my case, the food matrix that I have is high in salt, and I found that with alginate, it's easy to be degraded. So it doesn't withstand high salt concentration, high sodium chloride. So what about in beverages like fruit juice or milk? What is the main challenge in terms of the that could destabilize the microcapsule?
Okay. Thank you for the question. So basically, the ones that we are aiming here is on fruit juice, because previously we also look at how to say, we don't really look at herbal drinks and all this, but in terms of fruit juice, the main problem here is acidity. Okay, so the raw material that used should be able to withstand the acidity. And so far, we found that if we use alginate, then it is okay. If we look, we have actually tried previously using other compound to replace the alginate or to improve it. Sometimes the combination is not that good, so it will decrease the increase the porosity, so the product is not very stable, so the MEE decreases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anyone wants to ask question? I think there's a question from Leon. Hi, Miss. The topic is very interesting. I like the way you present the results, and I like to know more about the parameters in spray drying. When we encapsulate our probiotics, what's the most significant thing to consider to improve the efficiency of probiotic survivability?
Okay. In terms of spray drying, now, first of all, when we encapsulated probiotic, we need to see the first, how to say, the survivability rate, and also because each probiotic, they have their own like prebiotic that can improve them, that will have whether they are aerobic and anaerobic. So you will need to look at the condition. And also in terms of spray drying, we will always look at the minimum inlet temperature and outlet temperature that we can, because we know that when we do spray drying, right, the lesser degrees Celsius for inlet and outlet temperature, sometimes the drying is not that efficient, so the moisture content and all these things will decrease. So we will need to look at the balance between the two to minimize the contact or the inlet temperature, however, to still maintain the moisture content, water activity, and also to reduce the stickiness of the product. Besides that, the different raw material is also important. Previously, they always look at maltodextrin because it's cheap, but recently they also look at CMC, they also look at cyclodextrin that can help to increase the efficiency, but at the same time, the amount used is lesser. Yeah.
How much is usually the efficiency when you said it's usually small or less efficient? How much the percentage that you're talking about?
In terms of spray drying?
Yeah.
Spray drying is not that high though. I think the most that I've seen always is like 40 to 60%, because they are subjected to heat. But in terms, that's why we opt for extrusion method, and where there is no heat subjected. So if there is no heat, then more microbe can survive. The probiotic can survive better.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Leon. So also from Dr. Richard, he's asking, how about microencapsulating probiotics that are heterogeneous, more than 10 microbes? Will it affect their genotype?
This one I'm not really sure, because I don't really look at I don't look at heterogeneous, because what we do is we just use a maximum of 2 microbes, because we want to know how to say the bacteria, we want to know each of them. So normally if we combine the 2 microbes, we will be able to actually separate the 2. Means either it's a single strain or double strain. So double strain will be able to know if they have synergistic effect with each other, or actually they are like competing with each other for food. So I have not worked with more than 10 microbes before.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any more questions? Or maybe Pa Richard wants to ask more questions. Or we have another question from Miftahul Jana. Dear Dr. Pui, the topic is very interesting. However, I would like to ask whether the encapsulated probiotic will affect the texture of overall products. That's a good question.
Okay, thank you for your question. So basically, in terms of different encapsulation method, they will have different kind of products. Now, the spray dried microencapsulation method will have the product in the powdered form. So let's say if you want to, nowadays they do sell powdered form or granule form of probiotics where you can actually eat it like that, or you mix with water. Then the ones to consider the physical properties to consider is the solubility, whether they can be wet, like in terms of wettability, whether they can stabilize and they can mix well in the water. In terms of probiotics that is encapsulated using extrusion method, the bead size is quite big. It's like a sago beads like that. Okay, so I mean, for people that like it's not a gritty, but it's like, when you drink the like bubble tea, you have the smaller size one, so it'll be like that. However, in terms of the co-extrusion method, like what you can see from the video, is very, very small. With that, and you add with juice and you add a little bit of thickener, then it doesn't really have adverse or negative mouthfeel. And sometimes people will add that in a thicker product as well, like yogurt or milk or dairy products. It depends on what is it. In terms, I mean, I have also have one colleague of mine. She did co-extrusion, but she don't do it in probiotics, she do it in oil. So for oil, it's very, very sensitive, and you want to subject it to longer time of storage and room temperature. So what she did is she actually freeze dry it. So once they freeze dried, the beads actually shrink. Then after that, because of the shrinkage of the beads, there will be a little bit of grittiness. However, if we just produce and we put into the juice and we drink it like that, it doesn't really affect.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions? Okay. Another question from Leon again. He said, I'd like to ask another question about salinity stress on the probiotic encapsulation. So far, can saline stress contribute significant effect on the survival of probiotics after a food processing or a thermal treatment?
It depends on different strain of probiotics. First of all, is the probiotic stable in that percentage of salinity? And if not, then how do we improve it? So in that case, we will need to look at the raw material that can counter the osmosis, because when we have the brine solution and all this will affect. Okay. So it actually depends, yeah.
Okay, what do you think, Leon? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Miss.
All right. And then next question again from Miftahul again. I see. Thank you very much. And another question is it possible to use this method in other type of food products too, such as confectionery?
In terms of, you mean the encapsulation method? If it's encapsulation method, depending on what is the, what is the end product you want to do. Okay, it's like if it's confectionery, it will in the end subject to high heat. So if you want to add it after the baking process as a topping, then I think it's okay. But if you want to put it as the ingredient and then you subject it to heat, I do not think that anything will survive. Or if you want to put like active ingredient inside, it can protect a little bit, but it's not as much, because when you do baking, it's about 200 degrees Celsius. So the stability is not there already.
I just want to add on that. Is it
Yeah.
possible in terms of, because the confectionery usually contains very high sugar content, will it
Yes.
affect the stability of the capsule?
No, it will not.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty stable. For example, let's say we encapsulate something in the form of candy. So candy contains lots of sugar and it's solid. So what do you think? Is it possible to do that?
Previously, is actually when we subject it to different percentage of juice solution, right? Because juice contains sugar as well, and actually initially we will expect the beads to burst because of the osmosis kind of thing, but it didn't happen, so it's quite stable. Yeah, so it depends on the raw material that you use.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
there's a lot of optimization that we need to do, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then next question from Kevin. Hi, Dr. Pui. Thank you for the interesting presentation. I would like to ask if there are any regulations regarding the addition of encapsulated probiotics in commercial products, and if there are any other challenges for commercialization. If there are any other challenges for commercialization and of products containing encapsulated probiotics. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin, for the question. Now, I'm not sure about the condition in Indonesia, but in Malaysia, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, our government actually listed a list specific strain of probiotics strain that can be incorporated into commercial products. So without that, then you cannot produce and then sell it to the consumer. So it's not permitted. Now, however, so I think there is about 100 of them that is quite that is listed there. However, if you're a company and then you want to produce that strain of probiotic in food, you can apply to the committee, and once they check out all the documentation, they will be if it meets the requirement, then they approve it. Now, this probiotic, right, the list of probiotic that has been allowed to be in the food is actually lesser than the probiotics that is being approved to use in supplement. Yeah, but it is because normally this list is the one that is being requested by the supplier, by the manufacturer itself.
Oh, so it's different from between supplement and food.
Yes, supplement, you have supplement governance and rules and regulation. In food, you have another set. So it depends, like for example, if you want to let's say if you want to have a probiotic strains that you actually extract it and it is very healthy and all these things, you want to put it into a gel that can that encapsulate the probiotics with prebiotics. You can choose to go into supplement line, which is easier. Then you go to food and supplement range, the range that's categorized as supplement product. The cost is higher. I mean, the price is higher. So compared to the food product, we will expect food product to sell at a cheaper price. So that's why a lot of people go for the supplement side compared to the normal food products. Okay. Yeah, but I'm not sure about Indonesia. What is the regulation?
Okay, I think we need to have a look on that, Kevin. All right, I think that was the last question. Any more questions? Okay, you can type if you're too shy, maybe while waiting. So maybe I have another question. So have you ever considered, instead of encapsulating the probiotics, instead of encapsulating, whether you prefer to find strain? Because from what you showed, the result you presented, there are some bacterial strains that already stable.
Yes.
And it has high survival compared to the other probiotics, even after they are encapsulated. So what do you think? Is there any, would you prefer to move to that direction, or you think encapsulation would be better than finding new strains that are more stable?
Oh, actually, this is my first study. I mean, in terms of to see whether the whole process works or not. So this work has been conducted, I think, two years ago, by my final year project students. So to kickstart this kind of methods, right? I will choose a very stable strain to see how we can further optimize. So following this research, I have worked with about, I think, more than 10 different strains already. Some are greatly improved in terms of survivability, where they, I mean, the probiotic we use are all supplements. So supplements probiotic, right, is it already reached that level. Now when we incorporate into food, some of them, especially after long storage, it doesn't really improve, like what we can see from the work on the Hottenberry, the Lai et al. Is actually one of my master students. When he subjected the free cell in Hottenberry, it actually degrade very fast. But after the encapsulated together, even with prebiotic, is even better. Yeah, so we can see from different strains, then they'll have different behavior.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We have 3 more minutes. Any more question? Maybe one last question. No question? Maybe if in the future you have question, probably you can contact Dr. Pui directly. You can drop her email probably.
Yep. I'll just type my email in the chat so that you can contact me.
Okay. And maybe Wirda, can you show the barcode probably? So please don't forget to, before you leave, don't forget to fill in the evaluation form, yeah, so you can get the certificate. Okay, so you can click the link that just shared in the chat box. Okay, Dr. Pui, thank you very much for your time and sharing about your research. It's very interesting and very insightful. I hope we can have a further discussion later on.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. All right. Thank
you.
you. And for all the participants, thank you for taking your time and have a nice day. Don't forget to fill in the survey evaluation form. Bye.